I'm Tricia McLaughlin. I'm the Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs at the Department of Homeland Security. And today, we're going to answer the internet's most burning questions. Okay. Did DHS raid a strawberry farm? Come on, guys, no. We went to a marijuana facility, 2 in California, where we found 361 criminal illegal aliens. These guys were the worst of the worst. We found convicted murderers, kidnappers, drug traffickers, child molesters, people you do not want in your community. You do not want these people to be your neighbors. And really sadly, among these aliens were 14 children who were working on these marijuana facilities. And they actually, 10 of them were unaccompanied. They may have been exploited. They may have been trafficked, potentially slave or forced labor. And fortunately, those children are now in safe hands. They're in the custody of HHS. So thank you to our brave law enforcement who, they risk their lives every single day to make sure Americans are safer. Is DHS really arresting the worst of the worst? I'm glad the internet is asking this question because we absolutely are. Since President Trump and Secretary Noem took office, 70% of those illegal aliens that we've arrested either have a criminal conviction or pending criminal charges. We're talking about MS-13 gang members. We're talking about known or suspected terrorists, child molesters, murderers, rapists. That's who we're focused on going after. Actually, you all should know that since President Trump took office, we've arrested more than 600 known or suspected terrorists in this country. That is crazy, and thank God for our law enforcement. Is DHS building another alligator Alcatraz? Of course, the United States has amazing wildlife, and Secretary Noem, as she said before, she's looking at different agreements with states across the country. We need more detention bed space, and thanks to the big, beautiful bill, we have the funding to create more detention bed space, and we're looking at different states all across the country, so stay tuned for more announcements. Is DHS dismantling FEMA? Don't believe everything you read online. We are revolutionizing FEMA so that it is state and local led and federally supported in a quick and expedited way to make sure that Americans in crisis are getting the resources and support they need in a timely fashion. With the old FEMA, we've seen that they've failed Americans in crisis really for decades. There's still payouts due from Hurricane Katrina. That's pretty crazy. And under President Trump and Secretary Noem, no more. We're going to get out of the state and local government's way. No more bureaucracy, but we're going to get them swift help and the money that they need to help Americans. Is DHS receiving funding from the Big Beautiful Bill? Yes. The Big Beautiful Bill has been so essential in getting us the detention spaces we need. This is going to help us really turbocharge those ICE arrest numbers to get the worst out of this country. But also, it's going to give us 10,000 more ICE enforcement officers and even more Border Patrol agents to make sure that we're keeping our homeland safe. And we're really excited about this. We're even looking at giving bonuses to our brave law enforcement officers. They're facing an 830% increase in assaults against them, and we got to get them the resources and funds they need to keep themselves safe and still do their job effectively. Who is posting the DHS memes? Don't we have the best social media in the game? We have 3 great patriots who work around the clock to make sure Americans are getting the information they need. We're debunking the fake news, the lies, and the smears against DHS and our law enforcement. And also, they do a pretty good job of making us laugh once in a while. So we're grateful for them. Can I keep my shoes on when going through TSA? Yes. Thank the heavens, you can now keep your shoes on thanks to Secretary Noem and President Trump's leadership. We're getting rid of the bureaucratic and just lazy policies that have been made and not changed. This is archaic. Think about this. That shoes off policy was implemented in 2006, almost 20 years ago. So we've had way better technology, evolution of TSA security screenings in itself, information sharing so that we can ensure that Americans have the same safety standards, they're safe when they're flying, we make sure we're not letting the bad guys, the criminals, fly on our airwaves, but you have a much more hospitable experience when flying, so keep those shoes on when you're flying. All right, next up, why do ICE officers wear masks? Remember when I mentioned that our ICE enforcement officers are facing an 830% increase in assaults against them? Well, it's not just that. They're facing doxing. Their family members are being targeted, where their spouses work, where their children go to school. It is despicable. But also, think about who our ICE officers are arresting. When we talk about the worst of the worst, we're talking about Tren de Aragua, a vicious criminal organization. We're talking about MS-13. These are individuals who, if they know the identity of our ICE enforcement officers, this is like key intelligence to them. And so they can go after them personally. They can go after their families. They can go after their children. So that's why they wear a mask. But we hear a lot of critics saying, criticizing our ICE enforcement officers for wearing masks and not presenting themselves clearly. That is absolutely false. I've been on dozens of these ICE operations. Our ICE enforcement officers clearly and verbally present themselves, who they are, that they're a DHS law enforcement, or they're with ICE, HSI, or ERO, and they're also wearing vests that say DHS, ICE, or ERO, and they're also flanked by official vehicles. So these individuals, when they're being targeted and arrested, they know exactly who's picking them up. Next up, is the border secure? Music to my ears, my favorite question. Under President Trump and Secretary Noem, we have the most secure border in American history. It is nothing short of extraordinary. What our Border Patrol officers have done last month in June, 0 crossings, 0 gotaways. We're so proud of them, but what does this mean for the American people? Not only is our border secure, but our Border Patrol agents aren't stuck processing illegal aliens at the border. They're actually out in the field. They're able to go and be out in the field, get those cartel members, get those drug mules, and get other bad actors who are trying to get into this country. And last up, is DHS going to deport me? If you're in this country illegally, you should leave now. The US taxpayer is so generously offering those who are in this country illegally $1,000 through the CBP Home app and a free flight home. Control your own departure. And that preserves you the potential opportunity to come back to the United States the legal right way. But if you don't leave now, you will be arrested and you will be deported. So make sure you take advantage of that CBP Home app today. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope I answered some of your most burning questions. We'll see you next time.